That is correct.
And Mr. Depp's finger had just been cut off, right?
That is correct.
And you write to Dr. Cowan, quote, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change," end quote. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
You weren't able to change, were you, Ms. Heard?
I very much wanted to leave the relationship I was in, but I didn't have the power. I didn't feel I had the power to leave. I knew I was in a very toxic relationship with Johnny, and I knew I needed to change that. I knew it was, at this point, horrible for me. And I talked to my therapist often about that.
Defendants Exhibit 371 as redacted with just Ms. Heard's messages.
All right.
Your Honor, I object because she has left out the next two lines from Ms. Heard that clarify even further, and I also think
Ms.
that Dr.
Bredehoff,
Cowan's...
Your Honor, may we please approach? This is... So, Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit Defendants Exhibit 371 as redacted.
All right, 371 in evidence as redacted. Over objection. Yes, ma'am.
If you can publish that to the jury, thank you. So you write, Ms. Heard, to Dr. Cowan, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change." Right?
And I said, I clearly can't figure this out, meaning the relationship.
You didn't say that. You said,
I did.
Not the relationship. Your text messages, "Clearly, I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now."
What I was saying to him is
No, Ms.
clearly
Heard,
I can't
Ms.
figure
Heard,
this out.
Ms. Heard,
as in
that's
the
not my question.
relationship.
The text, just the text.
That's exactly what I was saying.
What you texted. "Clearly, I can't figure this out. I feel so lost right now."
That's what
right.
I was saying.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Heard, you contend?
Your Honor, just for clarification, so those two next lines did come in?
They are in the redacted
Okay,
copy.
good. All right, thank you.
Ms. Heard, you contend that there's another incident of abuse in March of 2015 after you and Mr. Depp returned from Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this incident took place on March 23rd, 2015?
That's correct.
And this supposedly occurred in the penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building?
That's correct.
You had found text messages between Mr. Depp and another woman, right?
That is correct.
So you confronted him about cheating on you.
That's correct.
And this was about 2 weeks after you had returned from Australia.
That's correct.
So this is shortly after Mr. Depp supposedly sexually assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was 2 weeks after he assaulted me, yes.
And you decided to confront him about cheating on you?
I didn't decide to. I wanted to.
Mr. Depp's finger was freshly injured at this point, right?
He had a cast on it.
the top of his right finger had been cut off 2 weeks prior.
That is correct.
And he had a pin in his finger, true?
I don't recall when the pen was placed.
A skin graft?
I'm not quite sure. He had several different procedures, and they were kind of spread out over a period of time, so I don't remember what happened and when
One of those
exactly.
procedures was to treat the MRSA that got on his finger too, right?
At some point, I knew he had an infection.
And his right hand was in a bandage, right?
It was casted.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Depp was able to attack both you and your sister with his hand in that state, right?
That is correct. He had a hard plaster cast on it.
Debbie Lloyd was present in the penthouses when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you claim that Mr. Depp threw a Red Bull can at Miss Lloyd that evening.
Yes, that's correct.
And you put in a sworn statement to that effect in the UK case, right?
That is correct.
But that's not true, is it?
That's what happened.
You know what a deposition is, right, Ms. Heard?
I've had several, yes.
Yeah, so you know what it's when someone provides testimony under oath.
That is correct.
You're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case, correct?
That is true.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial, right?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right.
So in a deposition, Ms. Heard, you know it's when someone provides testimony under oath, right?
That's correct.
And you're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case.
That's correct.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial.
Yes.
So you heard Miss Lloyd testify under oath that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her.
I can't remember if she didn't recall that or if she said it didn't happen. I don't remember. I vaguely sense she didn't recall anything.
So it's your testimony that Miss Lloyd would forget that Mr. Depp, a very famous patient of hers, threw a can of Red Bull that nearly missed her, according to your version of events?
To be fair, I just don't remember if she said when she testified that she didn't recall that incident or if it didn't happen. I don't remember what she testified to. But I have a vague sense that she didn't recall much at all.
She recalled, and she testified in this courtroom, that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her. That was her testimony, wasn't it?
I don't recall what her testimony was with regards to that one incident, no.
You actually filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license right before she was supposedly deposed in this case, didn't you?
No, I don't believe I did.
Are you aware that someone filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license in connection with her care of Mr. Depp for failing to report abuse?
No, I had no idea. You're the first person to let me know about that.
It's your testimony under oath, that wasn't you?
But that is my testimony. I didn't even know about that until now.
Travis McGivern was also present when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you, correct?
He walked in at some point.
And you heard his testimony that it was actually you who punched Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
It's always been my own testimony that I hit Johnny.
And you who was throwing things at Mr. Depp.
I hit him in defense of my sister. I didn't have anything to throw at him. I never threw anything at him. I hit him when he attacked me and my sister, specifically when he moved for her. That's when I hit him.
So it's your testimony under oath. You threw nothing at Mr. Depp. Mr. McGivern's lying.
I have thrown things at Johnny,
No,
to be clear, but not
thrown
that
things
occasion.
that evening.
Not on that occasion.
So it's your testimony, Mr. McGivern imagined that you were throwing things at Mr. Depp from the mezzanine level down towards where Mr. Depp and Mr. McGivern were standing.
Well, he certainly wasn't going to say it about his client.
Ms. Heard, you and Mr. Depp kept a journal together, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
You wrote each other messages in that journal, right?
That is true.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 91. I'm only going to be showing you certain portions of this, so if we could please call this Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A. This is the journal that you and Mr. Depp kept with each other in electronic form, correct?
That is correct.
And if we could scroll through, these are all entries that you made in the journal, correct?
Is it done? Yes.
I'm going to move for the admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A, and I've gone ahead and redacted Mr. Depp's writings as on hearsay grounds.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. May we approach?
Okay.
Let's start with the first page. It's a picture.
Your Honor,
It's a picture.
they haven't given me the pages yet. Your Honor.
Writing them down.
Sorry, Judy. Let's write them down first.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, all right.
If we could please publish this to the jury.
91A in evidence.
Thank you.
Over objection.
This is a picture that's on the inside cover of the Love notebook, correct?
That's correct.
And this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp.
That's correct.
And you're in Australia in this picture, aren't you?
Yes, but that's much later once we returned.
You can see that Mr. Depp's right hand is bandaged, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was after it had recovered significantly. That's not what it looked like during the incident we were just talking about.
So this is a picture after the events in Australia in March of 2015, correct?
Yeah, yes, that photograph was taken months later.
We have the jury look at that photograph again, please. Let's now turn to page 3. This is a note you wrote in the journal to Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what it looks like, yes.
This is actually the first note you wrote to him in this journal.
I don't remember what the first note was.
The date on this note is May 22nd, 2015, correct?
That is correct. That was during our honeymoon period.
This is just a little bit over 2 months after the events in Australia in March of 2015, right?
That's correct. We were back in a honeymoon phase. That was the period of sobriety I spoke about yesterday.
When after Mr. Depp had allegedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was after the stairs and it was after the Australia incident, yes. And he got clean and sober and we went back to Australia.
It's also 2 months after you punched Mr. Depp because you allegedly thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs, right?
I hit him when he swung at my sister. And this is written months later, yes.
You thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney, and I had heard a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
In this first message to Mr. Depp in your journal, you write, quote, "True love isn't about just the madness of passion or instead picking the safety of peace. No, it's about having both, falling madly in love with your friend. That is what has surprised me perhaps the most, that I have seen in you the true bones of friendship and respect. But of course, I still, perhaps more than ever, want to rip you apart, devour you, and savor the taste. Fret not. XX Slim."
Yes, it's a love note.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And you're Slim, right?
That's correct.
Ms. Hurd, I'm now going to ask you to take a look at the very last entry you wrote in this journal, which seems to be from April 8th. That would be April 8th, 2016, correct?
I'm not quite sure. I don't see the year written on there, and I don't recognize it yet.
It would be a couple weeks. April 8th would be a couple weeks before your birthday, though, right?
That's correct.
Just to confirm, this is a note you wrote to Mr. Depp, right?
That's what it looks like, yes.
And on the second page of this note, you wrote the following. Quote, "I'm sorry I can get crazy. I'm sorry I hurt you. Like you, I can get wicked when I am hurt, when I feel provoked, shattered. And last night I was. I felt abandoned about the Lily Rose thing, felt absolutely bewildered about your not coming home on my last night here, and was heartbroken and angry after many attempts in vain on my part to rectify the situation and make amends on the last night of what was otherwise a gorgeous trip with you. I'm so sorry for my part. None of this is meant to be an excuse for hurting you, because the truth is, nothing is. There is never a reason good enough to hurt you. You are the last thing in the whole world who deserves it. Last person I ever meant to hurt. I love you, Steve. I am forever yours, Slim." Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
Ms. Hurd, let's take a look at Defendants Exhibit 423, which is already in evidence. This is a picture of you with what appears to be straight red marks on your arms, correct?
Those are scars from the broken glass.
And they're straight and red, right?
I disagree with how you characterize that, but they are red, yes.
And they're on your left arm?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Hurd, you have a history of cutting yourself, don't you?
I do not.
You cut your arm once as a teenager, isn't that right?
No, I said I wanted to. When I was put on birth control pills when I was a teenager, I felt crazy, and I said I felt suicidal.
So it's your testimony under oath that you didn't report to Dr. Hughes, your retained psychologist, that you had cut yourself as a teenager once?
I said I had told my mom that I wanted to when I was a teenager.
Ms. Hurd, we heard some testimony from you yesterday about a trip you and Mr. Depp took on a train in Southeast Asia. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
That was when you and Mr. Depp went on your honeymoon trip, correct?
That's correct.
And that was in July of 2015?
Yes, that sounds right.
Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, which is already in evidence. You were here in this courtroom, right, Ms. Hurd, when Malcolm Connolly testified to taking this picture?
That's correct.
This is the picture. This picture shows an injury to Mr. Depp's face, doesn't it?
I disagree. I've seen this picture.
Okay, Ms. Hurd,
I've seen
I
this
got the
picture
answer. Thank
before,
you.
and
You
he's
disagree?
not injured in it.
He's not injured in this picture. That's your testimony. Fine.
This one is Photoshopped.
Ms. Hurd, I have your answer. Thank you. This is the only photograph from your honeymoon that shows someone with an injury, correct?
That's not true.
We haven't seen any photos of injuries to your face from that train trip, have we?
I don't believe my face was injured on that trip.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 91A at page 46, going back to the Love Journal. This is a note from you to Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
This is a note you wrote on July 22nd, 2015.
That is correct.
And it starts off with the words, "My husband, happy honeymoon," right?
That's correct.
Ms. Heard, please take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A at page 67. This is another note from you to Mr. Depp in your journal, right?
That is correct.
And this one is dated August 1st, 2015.
That's correct.
And you write, "That's enough. You've held this book hostage long enough. Although I can't wait to read my note, I also couldn't wait to tell you how much I adore you. What a beautiful, extraordinary, magical, memorable, wonderful, stunning, surprisingly evolving, and impulsive adventure. I couldn't have imagined a more gorgeous honeymoon. I love you more and more every passing day. XX Slim." Did I read that right?
That is correct.
Let's take a look at the journal entry starting on page 68. This is another entry from you writing to Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And this one's dated August 2nd.
That is correct, yes.
And this one is a longer one, so let's go to where it ends on page 70 of the journal. And you write, quote, "I hope the things said in anger and pain were just that, and that you miss and love me too. And that is what matters most to you. You may say you stand by everything you said and did, and that there is nothing you can learn from this, but I don't feel that way. And it's important for me that you know that. I love you and I'm sorry. I miss my warm, loving husband. XX Slim."
That is correct.
And sad, the word sad is crossed out.
That is true.
Next, we have a journal entry from you on page 89. This is another note from you to Mr. Depp.
That is correct. The whole book is love notes.
So this is dated August 15th, correct?
That is correct.
And here you write, quote, "My love, why do we fight? Ever? Why? I love you more than anything else. Are we that uncomfortable with being vulnerable? Were we scared? Or is it something else? I don't know. But I am sure of one thing, and if it's that I can't imagine my life without you. I love you. I will do better. I am sorry. X Slim." Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Your testimony, this was a love journal.
That is correct. It was primarily love notes and
Apology notes from you to Mr. Depp.
The book was more of a love note book, and part of that communication, obviously, since we fought so much, it was important for me to, try to nurture as much peace as we possibly could. And when things were good, they were really good.
And it was also an opportunity for you to apologize to Mr. Depp for your behavior, isn't it?
I think it's important in every relationship to apologize when you're trying to move past fights.
Let's look at an entry from August 17, 2015, starting on page 90. Here you write, quote, "I'm sorry I shook the wheels so hard. I'm sorry we've tested the shocks and brakes to this point. God damn, I love you, Johnny. I love you. I am tied to you forever, you know that? So I'm tasked with making this work for that reason and many others. of which there are many. Let me try to fix this. Let me try to patch this. Let me try to make your heart better. You deserve it. Hell, maybe even I do. I need you. We need each other. You're my cornerstone, my heart, my all. You are my life. I hate it when we fight. I hate having you hurt. I hate that you're hurting. I love you more than anything. Let me prove it. I need you. I love you. Slim. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, another example of me trying to fix it. I was always trying to fix it.
Fix it by apologizing for your bad behavior?
I tried everything. I tried apologizing, I tried reading, I tried therapists, I tried everything to fix
But
it.
yet you couldn't change like you told Dr. Cowan, right?
I couldn't change my relationship.
Let's talk about December 15th, 2015 again. Erin Filati, your personal nurse, saw you 2 days after the incident on December 15th, 2015. Isn't that right?
She did not see me as in a medical visit. She just dropped off meds in the late at night.
She saw you personally, though, right?
She physically saw me, but did
Yeah.
not see me in a medical sense, the way a doctor might see a patient. She did not see me in that way.
She was your personal nurse, right?
She was a nurse assigned to me. I didn't hire her. Johnny did.
She was assigned to you, and so when she would see you, it would be physically in person in your home and traveling, correct?
She would sometimes see me as like a medical professional would, and then other times she would just drop off meds and physically see me, like as in with her eyes.
You testified that during the incident on December 15th, 2015, Mr. Depp broke the bed, correct?
That is correct.
And more specifically, you described that he broke the bed frame with his boot while trying to get purchase. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendants Exhibit 509, which is already in evidence. If we could please have that published to the jury. Thank you. Ms. Hurd, this is a picture that you indicated depicts the broken bed, right?
That's exactly it.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp caused this damage to the bed with his boot, right?
He did.
Is that a pocket knife on the bed there?
I cannot tell what's on the bed.
Did you use that to damage the bed?
I did not damage the bed. Johnny's boot did when he was punching me. I could feel him slipping.
Mr. You also testified that there was blood all over the pillows on the bed, correct?
On the pillow top, yes, that's correct.
But you didn't take a picture of that, though, did you?
I did not take a picture of this.
About a week after the December 15th, 2015 incident, you went with Mr. Depp and his children to the island of the Bahamas. Is that correct? To celebrate Christmas?
The incident was on the 15th, and we went on the 23rd, I believe.
While you were there, you did a photo shoot with Greg Williams, correct?
A few days later, I think the photo shoot was about 2 weeks after this assault.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 99. This is a photograph of you on Mr. Depp's island shortly after December 15, 2015, correct?
No, this was taken weeks later.
On the island, on that trip?
It was taken on the island.
On that trip?
Yes,
Weeks later?
weeks later.
December 15th, you traveled to the island December 23rd? That's your
It's
testimony?
my recollection that this picture was taken on New Year's Eve or the first day of the year. I think New Year's Eve.
And this is the photo shoot with Greg Williams, correct?
That is correct.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
No objection?
All right, 99, we can publish.
Can we please have a zoom in to Ms. Hurd's face? Thank you, Tom. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 100. move to admit and publish.
No objection.
All right, 100 in evidence, you can publish.
Ms. Hurd, this is another picture of you from that photo shoot, correct?
Yes, this is the same photo shoot that you asked me about earlier, and this is several weeks later.
Right. If we could zoom in on Ms. Hurd's face. Thank you, Tom. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 101. And I'm going to move to admit and publish.
Any objection?
Can we just have the foundation first, please?
This is a picture from the photo shoot, Ms. Hurd, that was taken on the island.
This is the same photo shoot, yes.
Then no objection, Your Honor.
All right, 101 in evidence, you can publish.
If we could please zoom in, excuse me, Tom, on Ms. Hurd's face. It's your testimony, Ms. Hurd, that you were wearing makeup for this photo shoot?
That is correct. It's a photo shoot.
If we could please pull up Exhibit 102. Ms. Hurd, is this another picture from the photo shoot?
I can't exactly tell from the background. It looks like the same thing, but I can't really tell without it being zoomed out.
This is a picture of you, though, right?
It is a picture of me, yes.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
All right, any objection?
I'm not going to object because she identified herself. I just, if she could identify when it was taken, that would help. But I'm not going to object. I'm not
No,
gonna object.
no objection.
No objection.
Okay, there we go. 102 in evidence, you can publish.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 103.
03.
Ms. Hurd, this is yet another picture of you from that Greg Williams photo shoot, correct?
That is correct. This is from the same shoot.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
No objection.
All right, 103 in evidence, publish.
And again, if we could zoom in on Ms. Hurd's face. And finally, if we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 104. And Ms. Hurd, this is a picture of you from that photo shoot, correct?
Again, this is the same photo shoot weeks later.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 104 in evidence, thank you.
Again, if we could zoom in on Ms. Hurd's face. Thank you, Tom. You testified that you and Mr. Depp got into a fight while on the island in December of 2015, correct?
That's correct.
And this all started because you perceived Mr. Depp as nodding off during the trip, right?
I thought he was passing out again in a similar fashion to what he had done the previous year.
And when he nodded off, he spilled wine on you, correct?
Yeah, 2-3 times in a row.
You testified that Mr. Depp's son, Jack, was there when this happened, right?
At the beginning, he was there.
He was there when Mr. Depp allegedly spilled wine on you 2 or 3 times, right?
He was there for that because he offered me help.
Right. You also testified that Mr. Depp then sexually assaulted you in the bathroom, correct?
That's correct.
And you testified that after this, you needed to get away from him, right?
That is correct.
So you ran out of the house.
That's correct.
And you admit you threw something at him, right?
I did throw something at him to get away.
You sat in this courtroom when Tara Roberts testified, right, Ms. Hurd?
I did.
She's Mr. Depp's manager on the island.
Yes, that's correct.
You heard her testify that she witnessed an argument between you and Mr. Depp on the island in December of 2015, right?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And you heard her testify that Mr. Depp was trying to escape you, right?
I don't know if she characterized it like that, but that was the gist of it. She kind of misrepresented it to seem like that, yes.
She misrepresented it. How convenient.
That's correct.
Okay, and then you kept apologizing to Mr. Depp, right? That's what
No, that's
Ms.
not
Roberts said? Begging him to come back to the house with you.
That's not correct.
Clawing at him. She used those words.
That's not correct. When she interrupted us, Johnny had me by the hair.
Yelling at him.
We were screaming, both of us, but I don't know what she would have heard.
And that she observed an injury on Mr. Depp's nose from something that you threw at him, right?
I don't know what she observed.
You also heard Ms. Roberts testify that she included all this information in a sworn statement in the UK in May of 2020. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
You put in a witness statement in response to Ms. Roberts' statement in June of 2020. Isn't that correct? In the UK?
I did several, I think 7 witness statements, and each one contained different information as per recent filings. That's what counsel has you do in that.
And in response to
case.
Previous filings, correct? Including testimony from people that contradict your story?
Sort of. So what you have to do is your counsel asks you to respond to things, and you put it in a declaration of sorts, and that happens back and forth over the course of preparing to go to trial in that country, and that's what I did.
So that was your 5th witness statement submitted in the UK.
I don't recall which one I was asked to comment on Tara Roberts' testimony.
I'll remind you. If we could have Ms. Heard's 5th witness statement from the UK.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Directing your attention, Ms. Heard, to page 6 of your 5th witness statement. It's here that you describe the December 2015 incident, correct, on the island?
I haven't read through the statement. I just don't know if I had commented on it before. In a previous witness statement, as I said, there were several.
But starting on page 6, Ms. Heard, you describe the incident that took place on the island, correct?
That's correct, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure if
understand.
I'd describe it in full in this statement.
Okay. I'm going to show you your confidential schedule to the 5th witness statement that accompanied the 5th witness statement in the UK.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
In the confidential schedule to your 5th witness statement, paragraph 1 on page 21, you describe Mr. Depp sexually assaulting you in the Bahamas of December 2015, right?
That is correct.
And that's the first time you ever claimed that Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you in the Bahamas.
That is incorrect.
You only submitted the confidential schedule in the UK claiming Mr. Depp had sexually assaulted you after Ms. Roberts had said that she saw you on the island chasing, clawing at Mr. Depp. Isn't that correct?
That is incorrect.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 394. Your Honor, this is another recording I can represent to the court. This only contains Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's voices. I'm going to move to admit the entire recording. I'm only going to play from 1:1744 through 1:20:02.
All right, any objection?
Which plaintiff exhibit, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
394.
394.
I think I have no objection. to
All
that one,
right,
Your Honor.
I'll go with that. All right, 394 in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What things have you been doing?
Working on this thing, not doing this great thing, trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's last several times we've switched.
Hence, screaming when I spilt wine accidentally on you for falling asleep, and screaming in front of my kids and freaking Jack out. And that's trying.
We do appreciate. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Johnny.
That fucked him up, you know.
I'm sorry I fucked your son up.
No, it weirded him out. It never.
I'm so sorry I fucked your kids up.
You didn't fuck my kids up, but
I'm
it
so
was pretty
sorry.
fucking. It was pretty fucking weird for him, you know.
Because I jumped up and screamed because I wanted to. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm surprised he's. So we can go for the counseling. I'm sure that's terrifying.
I don't need your
No, right, poor kid.
clever
It's not against me again.
comebacks.
It's so-
No, you think you're
your
controlling yourself.
Your character.
You
is-
think you're controlling
your
yourself.
character has become so clear, especially when you use them. It's embarrassing for you. I'm gonna walk away now because you're actually making me see even worse. And believing me, I'm not gonna be calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning after having an Ambien and think, oh, I'm gonna just fucking forgive and move on. Trust me, it is gross how you're using your kids. I've done nothing but be there for them in a good way. And if you take that for granted, fine. You're right. Meet a woman who would not jump up and scream if she'd been spilled on 3 times in a row. And I hope you're happy with whoever that is, because that would be a special kind of fucking person. No doubt.
It's you and Mr. Depp in that recording, right?
That's correct.
And you're discussing what happened in the Bahamas in December of 2015, right?
No, that's not correct. We were discussing a part of it.
You're discussing when you screamed at Mr. Depp in front of his children, correct?
No, we were talking about a part of that argument.
Including when you screamed at Mr. Depp in front of his children.
That's not a fair characterization of what happened.
Mr. Depp says you screamed at him when he accidentally spilled wine on you, correct?
I realize that's what Johnny said.
Yeah. And Mr. Depp tells you that this freaked out his son, Jack.
Johnny often used other people to back him up in our arguments.
You don't seem too concerned about that, do you?
I had a lot of concerns.
You don't mention Mr. Depp sexually assaulting you in this recording, do you?
That was not the point of that conversation. If I had gotten into the details of what happened to me with him, it would have been another fight.
You just accused Mr. Depp of, quote, using his kids, right? In that
He
recording.
would often
misheard.
use other people, yes.
And you challenge him to find a woman who will not, quote, jump up and scream if she has been spilled on 3 times in a row.
That is correct.
Not a woman who would put up with sexual abuse, right?
I was pointing out the ridiculous nature of him expecting me not to react to something that basic.
Your Honor, would this be a good time for a break?
All right, we can do that. That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning recess for 15 minutes. Do not discuss the case with anybody. Don't do any outside research. We'll see you in 15, okay? Let's go ahead and come back at 10:47 then. All right, 10:47. Thank you.
All right.
I did myself the fake
Suck my
seller
dick.
goods.
Suck my
I
dick.
fucking you've left nothing, and I've left
Suck my
everything.
dick.
So suck
Suck
your
my
dick,
Yeah, go on.
which is probably your next
Suck.
move because it's what
Suck.
you fucking need. No, I don't want to suck your dick. I don't want nothing to do with your
Oh,
fucking
because I really
midsection.
need something you want.
Well, go get it, man.
Because I need something you want. Go on.
Huh?
Fucking fuck yourself.
I
No shit, I don't. Go suck the dick.
don't want to.
It's right. It's gonna be all moved out.
No, it's not really true, Amber.
Actually, it's kind of is.
It kind of is. What are you talking about? You doing some
No,
research? Oh, is it? What is it?
no, I'm sure Rochelle's available.
I-
Call her up.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
she's available.
Maybe she is, but
I'm sure she is.
we'll see.
I'm sure she is.
I'll let you know.
Oh, I'm sure she is. I'm sure her for her yoga blog.
That fake laugh. That fake
Oh,
laugh is
she-
too much to take.
No, I'm sure she's.
That fake laugh is so disgusting,
I'm
man.
sure she's great. I'm sure she's great.
I'm thinking that you can give me some
No.
of the best performances in there.
No,
with
no,
fucking
you're
tragedy.
right. I don't. It's all about performance.
It's about performance in you. Oh, Amber, I don't regret. I don't regret.
Oh, what else?
I
What
don't
else
regret.
that you do? Oh,
I
come
don't-
on.
I don't
Be
regret.
more.
No, I
Come
don't
on.
regret.
Lay it on me. What else? What else other thing do you want to add?
Can't talk
you
to you
fucking
sound
lying
like
piece
Foggy
of shit.
Bear.
What? Oh,
Like
no,
a
I
kid's show.
want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Get out your Ubers out.
I'm kind of waiting. You go get it.
Yeah, I'll be in.
Wait, is there no other place for you to run in your 15 other houses to go run? Come on, go be a real married man. Go deal with your shit the way that a man does. Go run to the next house.
I wish I
Every man does.
Yeah.
Go.
Going
Run
through
away. I know it's
with
hard to
your
look at yourself.
fucking ridiculous
I know.
plan.
It's
Your
hard.
panicked fucking plan.
It's hard. It's hard.
Screwing everybody else
Poor
over
thing.
to get
You're
your
right.
fucking.
I tried.
get what
That's
you
what I
want.
do.
You're the most spoiled fucking brat. And you got everybody out here almost full, but it
you're
don't
right.
last
You're
long.
right.
I've
I'm
been
sorry.
here a lot longer
You're
than
right.
you.
You got to
because
figure it out.
You don't have. Figure out what you have to offer as opposed to going out and get your tits out.
You're right. That's what I do.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
London Field is excellent.
You're right. You're right.
Excellent choice.
Back to that. Well, I wonder what we else. I wonder what else we can reach for in the last 60 minutes. Oh no, it was 4 years ago. You're right. I'm sure there's other things you can find.
Go loud.
No, I'm not laughing.
Or, no, matter of fact,
I'm
laugh
not
here.
laughing. I'm not. It's
Oh.
serious. I'm sure you can find other things.
I know. And stripping. Man, well, there's always that. You can
You're
always
right.
go back
You can
to
write
that
a book.
for
You can
another-
write a
for
book.
another
I
10
know you
minutes.
can write a book. Oh, is this gonna be good for your book? Oh, should I have you sign an NDA for your book?
You don't even
Your
make-
book.
No,
Is this
no.
gonna be good for your book?
You won't even
Is
make
this
it
gonna be
a
good
book.
for your book? Hey,
I'll write what
Hey,
I want. I'll
I
write
have
what
a good
I want.
idea.
I write what
How
I
about you
want.
sell more of your journals? You're not a sellout or anything. Let's sell you journals. Oh, wait.
Hey.
Hey, you're not
Yeah,
you're
you
not
don't
what?
wanna sell out.
No, you're not
You
selling
don't want
out.
to sell out,
no,
Magic Mike.
No,
You don't want to
yeah,
sell
'cause
out.
no one does
No,
21
man.
Drug Street when they're in their 20s. No, you're right. That's not selling out. No. When you're in your 20s, you should really know what you want. Like
By the
selling
way-
your journals.
By the way, if you didn't know who the fuck I was.
You're right. Go sell your journals like a real non-sellout. 55-year-old. Or, I'm sorry, 52.
6.
51. I don't know. It doesn't matter at this point.
No.
I don't think so.
It really doesn't.
I don't really think so. But you're right. I mean, hey, at least I didn't do like a TV show where I was heartthrob in my 20s. God, that would be like embarrassing.
Wow.
If only I was with someone in their 50s that could point that out to me. Magic Mike, you're right. When you play a non-sexualized object. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're right. You got me. You got it all figured out.
You don't even know what movies I've done.
If only I could
You
be
haven't
like
even taken an interest.
If only I could
You
be
know,
like
but I had to
you. If
watch
only
your
I
fucking-
could be like
I had to watch your fucking direct and you trying to like
You're a joke.
feel like a fucking line.
You're a joke. You're a joke.
Yeah, I'm the joke in the industry, Amber. I'm the joke. I'm the joke in the
I'm
industry.
sorry, I can't really hear you. I'm sorry. The reruns of all my bullshit are playing too loud for me to hear you. I'm gonna just go and pedal my way back. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Aquaman.
Oh, 21 is whatever it was.
I was
I don't remember anymore.
I was 20.
No one cares. You're fucking fucking.
Washed up piece of shit.
What?
Washed up piece of shit.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh, I can't hear you.
Your jealousy's so tragic.
I'm sorry.
Your jealousy's so tragic. Fucking like
I can't hear
thinking
you.
that I'm going on a road with a
Turn on
band.
my aid. I can't hear you.
You told Mr. Depp to suck your dick multiple times, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You tell him to go run to his 15 other houses, right?
That's correct.
Because that's what he would do when you behave like this, isn't it?
Eventually, he would go and stay in one of the other houses.
You call him a sellout, don't you?
I was expressing frustration about his criticism of my career and how many problems that caused within the dynamic of our relationship, yes.
So you call him a sellout and a joke?
I called him horrible, ugly things, as you can hear. And
Sellout.
We spoke to each other in a really horrible way.
Pretty sure we just heard you speak to him in a really horrible way. You called him a sellout,
I just
right, Miss
disagree.
Heard? You called him a sellout, right, Miss Heard?
I called him a lot of ugly things.
And a joke.
I called him a lot of ugly things.
You called him a joke on that recording. You called him a washed-up piece of shit.
I think we both called each other that on that occasion, yes.
Mr. Depp mentions Aquaman, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
Excuse me?
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
No, Miss Vasquez, I got myself that role by auditioning. That's
Mr.
how that
Depp
works.
says, quote, your jealousy is so tragic.
I heard him say that, yes.
You were the jealous one in this relationship, weren't you, Miss Heard?
I think he was indicating I was jealous of his career.
But now you've twisted it to say it was Mr. Depp that's the jealous one.
Johnny's always been very jealous when I worked, when I did anything, friends. Yes, he's always been very jealous.
Ms. Heard, I'm going to ask you to take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 120E. This is a series of text messages between you and Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
I'm going to move to admit and publish these text messages. Mr. Depp's messages have been redacted.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 120E in evidence, you can publish.
Starts with a text message from you to Mr. Depp on September 26, 2015, right?
That is correct.
And you write, monster is back. This is him. Did I read that right?
That is correct.
And then in the next message, you write, quote, ran away, first sign of trouble. This is not the man you promised you would be. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
Then the next one down, you write, promised, swore to me you would be.
That is
Right.
correct. The non-monster.
Ms. Heard, you're talking about Mr. Depp running away from you at the first sign of trouble, aren't you?
No, I'm recognizing the clues at this point. When he would run away at the first sign of trouble, often that was a clue for me to know that he was back using again and that we were about to enter the next phase of the cycle.
And you describe his running away from you as the monster, right?
That wasn't what was a monster. The monster is the man who beat me up. The running away was just attached to that. It was a sign, a signal to me, as a clue, as somebody trying to put together clues that we were entering into that phase.
But in these messages, Ms. Heard,
Exactly.
the monster isn't Mr. Depp doing drugs, is it?
It was always the man who did drugs and beat me up. Yes, that's always been the monster.
That's not what you're saying in these messages.
That is exactly what I'm saying in the messages.
You don't describe Mr. Depp being violent, do you?
I do not describe that in this text message, no.
So it's a cowardly monster this time.
No.
Okay. And going down the page, you write a long series of text messages to Mr. Depp that don't get a response. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You write, "Come grown, face the shit, and we can do anything." You go on a little later to say, "Please come home. Let's apologize to each together." And continuing on page 77, you write, "Not go to bed mad." And then you say, "Sound okay? Sound like the priority in the long run? Come home. Don't be the monster. Be the man. Please. Please call me. Please." Continuing on page 78. You write, "I don't want the monster. I need my man. I need to talk to you. Please, Johnny. Don't force me to be something else to you. This is taking me for granted and I can never stop before this turns into something far darker." Describing yourself in that text message, right?
The exact opposite. I'm trying to interrupt him starting a new cycle where he starts using again.
He's not responding to you, Ms. Heard.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to desperately stop him.
"Please answer the phone," you say. "Doesn't this mean anything to you?" And it goes on. And I won't read all these messages, but you're saying, "Please answer," over and over again. Right?
It was very important to me. I was running out of time and I was trying desperately to stop him.
He wasn't with you, Ms. Heard.
Exactly, which is how I knew it was about to get a lot worse. He would leave, use, and come back way worse, with way less reality, with more delusions. He'd be more drunk. He'd be
I'm going to
more
move to
under the
strike
influence.
everything after
I was trying to stop
the
that.
answer to her question.
Your Honor, she was responding.
I'll overrule the objection, that's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is a situation where you were trying to get Mr. Depp to pay attention to you. Isn't that right?
No, I was trying to stop him from using
And because he ran away from you at the first sign of trouble, you call him a monster.
and from turning into the monster. The drugs are the key that opened the door.
Who was the real monster in this relationship, Ms. Heard?
Lives in Johnny, half of Johnny. It's not all of Johnny. The other half of him is wonderful and beautiful and the man I love.
I'd like you to take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 120F. There's another set of text messages between you and Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm going to move to admit and publish.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 120F in evidence, you can publish.
This is a set of text messages, and it's from October 2015. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
In fact, you sent all of these messages to Mr. Depp on October 22nd, 2015. Isn't that right?
Exactly. Same thing was happening here.
And again, I'm not going to read them all, but you start off again by trying to get Mr. Depp's attention, right? You write, "Please come home."
I was trying to stop another bender.
You write, "Please come home," right?
That is correct.
"Please answer. Don't break us up. Please answer. Please." And continuing on page 97, you write, "Give me some piece of your heart. Please, no fight, I promise. Please, no fights. Please, just pick up. Please give me 2 minutes. I'm dying. Please." And continuing on page 98, you write, "Please come home. Please come home, Baba. I am so sorry." Actually, you didn't say Baba, you said baby. Apologies. And it goes on. Did I read those correctly?
That is correct. That was another time I'm trying to stop another twist off.
This is what would happen when Mr. Depp would try to take some space from you, right?
No, this is what would happen when Johnny had moved into the next phase of the cycle, decided to use,
No,
and our
Ms.
lives
Heard.
were getting a lot worse at that
Ms.
point.
Heard, I'm talking about your actions. This is what you would do to Mr. Depp when he would leave you. You would harangue him.
I would try
Isn't that
to-
correct? You
I
would
would try-
harangue him.
Your Honor, at least let her answer the question. She interrupted you.
That's fine, go ahead and answer the question.
I do not think I would characterize my behavior that way. I was trying to stop him from using.
You were texting him incessantly. Isn't that correct, Ms. Heard?
It was imperative for my life.
Ms.
It was
Heard,
very
my
important
question is
to me.
much more simple. You were texting him incessantly.
I would
Yes
try
or no?
everything to
Ms.
get a hold
Heard?
of him and
So
to
that's a
stop the
yes.
cycle.
That's a yes, right?
I would try everything to stop the cycle. It was that important to me.
And he's the monster for not responding to you,
That's not what made him the monster.
for
No.
needing space from you.
The monster was not the guy who needed space. The
Not
monster
for
was
doing
who
drugs.
he was when he came back.
Not for doing drugs, Ms. Heard. Not for being violent. Just for needing space. That's when you called Mr. Depp the monster.
Incorrect.
Let's listen to Defendants Exhibit 598C, which is already in evidence.
And let's not do this anymore, because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May
you're being
I
so,
go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you so that you know you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Well, then say goodbye. I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave. Let me
Oh my
leave.
God. Stop rushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say? Stop poking me! Stop rushing me! Stop throwing me against the wall and going, what? You don't like that wall? You don't like the fucking wall? Stop pushing me!
Remember? I'm not pushing you. I'm not rushing you. I said, I need space. I don't want this conversation anymore right now. I need space. And I will take my space. Whether you like it or not, I will take it. And you will take your space. But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the rhetoric,
continuing it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't. Okay, stop. I'm stopped. Stop. Now I have to go. Okay? So we will speak to each other in a couple of hours. Okay? I'll give some kind of revelation that makes you feel better. You know? I hope I do too. But we'll just see when I get home. We'll just talk, or we won't talk, or we'll finish this, or we won't finish it. But this is not love. This is not happiness. This is not.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing me so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please, I feel like I have heart attacks almost every day. Please stop. Please
what are you
stop
doing? Why-
doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why
You're
are
a
you
fucking
with me?
bully. Stop. Please stop. I've been begging you not to fight. I just said, can we please have a normal argument? Just even a normal conversation, fucking normal argument. And for the last hour, I've been begging you to please just leave it at that. Let's just go on with our night. I would have been able to come in with you. We would have been able to let it go in a few minutes. It would have been fine. If we allowed ourselves to have fucking normal arguments. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me. You're fucking killing me. Fuck.
Sean, could you, please, I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you this much.
Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much.
I'm really sorry.
I'm really ready.
It's you and Mr. Depp in the recording, correct, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You just won't let him go, will you?
That's not true. We were outside of his studio and he wanted to go and use. It was a pretext. The claim that he was upset with me was a pretext so that he would go on a bender. I knew that pattern by the time this recording happened.
Is your testimony now that you were outside Mr. Depp's studio?
I believe that
And he
that
was going to go
recording was.
use?
Excuse me?
He was going to go use drugs? That's your testimony now?
We were outside his studio, his man cave house, if you will, in the car, I believe, during that recording.
And he was going to go inside and use.
That was the pattern. And as you can hear from my voice, I'm very, very, very scared of entering into the next cycle under what I had been conditioned to understand we were at that point in our relationship.
That's not true, is it, Ms. Heard? Mr. Depp was trying to go inside his house to see his daughter, Lily Rose.
She might have been over that day, but
So
that's not
it's your
what he was
testimony
getting out of
now?
the car to do, and that's not what I was stopping him from doing.
Let's play the beginning part of that recording where Mr. Depp tells you that he wants to go inside to see his daughter.
Then let's not do this anymore, because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop, I'm sorry.
Okay? So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May
you're being
I
so-
go?
We'll circle back to this, but it's your testimony that you were outside Mr. Depp's studio.
We were in the car.
You were in the car outside of Mr. Depp's studio,
That's correct.
and he wasn't telling you, please let me go inside my house to see my daughter. He was indicating to you that he wanted to go inside to do drugs. That's your testimony.
I know my testimony is that I knew what he was going inside to go do. I knew what stage of the cycle we were in. I knew the patterns by then, and I was desperately out of time trying to interrupt that cycle.
Let's go to May of 2016. Yesterday, Ms. Heard, Ms. Bredehoff, your attorney, showed you certain pictures from May 21, 2016. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
If we could please pull up Defendants Exhibit 710, which has already been admitted into evidence. Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday that this is a photograph taken of you on May 21st, 2016. Do you recall?
Yes, that's correct.
And keeping this exhibit up, if we could please do a split screen, Tom, and also pull up Defendants Exhibit 714, which has already been admitted with redactions. Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday that this is a photograph that was also taken on May 21st, 2016, correct?
Yes, although the one to the right might have been taken the next day. I can't be sure. The reason I say that is because there's light in the background. So it looks like it was taken in the daytime, which means maybe it was the next day.
Didn't you testify that you took different lighting, pictures in different lightings on May 21?
That is correct, yes.
And you're wearing two thin necklaces in this picture on the right. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You testified that these pictures were taken the same night.
The one on the right looks like it was taken in the daytime because I can see the daylight behind me.
But you testified that they were taken the same day.
I don't know if I think I testified that they came from the same incident of the same day, not necessarily taken on the same day.
Okay. Let's please pull up Defendants Exhibit 712, which has already been admitted. You testified yesterday this is another photograph of you on the night of May 21.
That's correct.
And keeping this exhibit up, can we please do a split screen and also pull up Defendant 713, which has already been admitted? Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday this is also a photograph of you from the same night, correct?
That is correct.
You testified yesterday that the only difference between these two photographs is that the light was turned on.
That's what it appears to be, yes.
The light is on both of these pictures, though. Isn't that right?
It looks to me like the one on the left has the vanity light, the makeup lights, you know, the more yellow-hued ones that go around the mirror on, and then the one on the right looks like it doesn't have those.
Isn't it true you just edited these photographs?
No, I've never edited a photograph.
Didn't you just enhance the saturation for one of these photos to make your face look more red?
No, that's incorrect. I didn't touch it.
You were sitting here in this courtroom when Mr. Isaac Baruch testified to seeing you the week after May 21, 2016, correct?
I was here.
Mr. Baruch testified that he saw you on May 22nd while you were changing the locks of your penthouse. Do you recall that testimony?
I do. I just don't know if he was right about the date, but I do remember him saying that.
Testified it was his birthday, the day after his birthday.
I believe it was.
Mr. Baruch testified that he saw you repeatedly in the days following also, correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Baruch testified that he saw no marks or injuries on your face, correct?
That is what he's testified to.
You were also here in this court when Mr. Sean Bett testified to seeing you on the evening of May 21, 2016. Is that right? You were here.
That's correct.
Mr. Bett also testified that he saw no marks or injuries on your face that evening, correct?
I realize that's what he said.
You were sitting here in this courtroom when Officer Melissa Sines testified by deposition about being called to the Eastern Columbia building on May 21st, 2016, right?
I saw her testimony, yes.
And you heard Officer Sines testify that she did not see any injuries on you that night, correct?
I heard her testify she did not consider this injured.
No. Miss Officer Sines testified that she met with you and she did not see any injuries on your face. Isn't that correct?
She did not consider this injury.
Ms. Hurd, my question is a bit more nuanced.
So is my answer.
All right.
Tom, can we put these down, please? I think they might be confusing the witness. My question is more nuanced. You sat in this courtroom while Officer Sines testified that she saw you the night of May 21, 2016, face to face, and didn't see any injuries on your face. Isn't that correct, Ms. Hurd?
I believe she was testifying about these photographs, and she said that I was not injured in them.
Is it your testimony under oath now that Officer Sines testified that she saw injuries on you when she saw you in person on May 21?
Sorry, let me clarify. I was testifying that I know that that's what Officer Sines said, that she didn't consider my red, puffy face injured. That's what she said.
The red, puffy face, that was your counsel's question, correct?
That was
She
her
said-
testimony in the UK.
That's incorrect, and you know that, Ms. Hurd.
I disagree.
It's just inconvenient for you that Officer Sines didn't see injuries on you on May 21, 2016.
It
Isn't
doesn't
that
matter
right?
what's convenient for me.
Right. Officer Tyler Haddon also testified by deposition about being called to the Eastern Columbia building on May 21, 2016, and he also testified no injuries on your face on May 21, 2016. Isn't that correct?
They both said that they did not consider me injured.
They did not see injuries on your face on May 21, 2016. Isn't that what their testimony was?
What their testimony was is that they did not consider what my face looked like to be injury. They didn't consider what they walked on in the house damage, but it was.
You were sitting here when Officer William Gatlin testified by deposition about being called on May 21 to the Eastern Columbia building, and he also did not observe any injuries on you, did he? And that's what he testified to.
He didn't even know which one I was.
No, I think we all saw on video camera you identify yourself. Isn't that correct?
I had to because of how far away he was. He didn't even know who he was
But
there
after
to
you
see.
identified yourself, He looked at you. Isn't that correct?
From a distance, yes.
And he didn't see any visible injuries either, did he?
I don't know what he saw.
He testified that he didn't see any visible injuries, did
I
he?
would believe that he didn't, yes.
You were also in this courtroom when Alejandro Romero, who worked at the front desk at the Eastern Columbia building, testified about seeing you on May 25th, 2016. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. I think he said the 25th.
Yeah, and Mr. Romero testified that he didn't see any swelling or bruises on your face when you were talking to him at the front desk.
He wouldn't have.
No, he wouldn't have, even though he had a habit, because his parents taught him correctly, to look into someone's eyes when speaking to them. Isn't that correct?
I know that's what he testified to, yes.
You testified yesterday that you sought a temporary restraining order on May 27th, 2016 because you wanted to change your locks. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I do.
Those locks were to the penthouses at the Eastern Columbia building. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
But you changed the locks to the penthouses on May 22nd, 2016.
I attempted to.
That's why you felt comfortable having James Franco over the evening of May 22nd, 2016, Ms. Heard?
I do not know when James came over.
Okay, let's remind you. Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 304, which is already in evidence, and play from 254 through 439? That's you and Mr. Franco on May 22nd, 2016, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you're taking him up to the penthouses, aren't you?
That's where I lived, yes.
And it's past 11 p.m. at night. Isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure of the time it looked like that.
Why don't we pull that video back up? (22:51). Almost midnight, right?
That's
Excuse me, almost 11 o'clock at night.
exactly.
You knew Mr. Depp was out of town the week of May 21, 2016, didn't you?
I don't know what I knew of his schedule at the time.
You knew Mr. Depp was out of town on May 27th when you went to get the domestic violence restraining order. Isn't that right?
I don't know if I knew that at the time.
You knew Mr. Depp was heading out on a European tour that week. Isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure what I understood of his schedule at that time.
You knew he wouldn't be back for weeks, right?
No, that's incorrect.
Let's go back to that recording. It's Defendants Exhibit 598. So you testified that you and Mr. Depp were in the car outside of his studio. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were trying to prevent him from going into his studio to do drugs, right?
Yeah, to effectively start another cycle.
Right. Not that Mr. Depp was just trying to go into his house to see his daughter, right?
His daughter might be one of the people that was in the house at that time, but that's neither here nor there. That wouldn't have
testimony is now,
prevented him
Mr.
from entering a cycle.
Your testimony is now that Mr. Depp does drugs in front of his children?
Well, first of all, I know he does. Second of all, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have stopped him from using with his friends, which is the problem, not whether or not his daughter was there.
Let's play, please, Defendants 598 at 4948 through 5035. 5035.
I'm itching. I don't want to be doing this. I want it just to, why don't you just say, okay, baby, I understand. I'll go home and you do your thing, hang out with your daughter, and then I'll see you in a couple hours and we'll talk about it. Is it that difficult to say that? Or you just fucking hate me and you want to be shitty about it? Please. Just fucking, it's not that difficult. Okay? I don't want to stand here in a driveway and argue with you. Okay, well, I'll see you in a little bit, okay? Please? Please. Just let me know if you're gonna go somewhere. Just let me know, please, so I know.
And almost an hour later, you're still arguing with Mr. Depp outside, right?
I don't know how long that argument lasted, no.
Ms. Heard, you testified about seeking a domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes, I have.
And how you wanted to do it discreetly?
That's correct.
That you wanted as much privacy as you could have?
Yes, that's correct.
And how you walked out to a sea of paparazzi and cameras and photographers, right?
That is correct.
And how this overwhelmed you?
It was overwhelming, yes.
Because you didn't want this attention on you?
That is correct.
If we could please pull up Defendants Exhibit 800, which has already been admitted into evidence. This is a photograph of you taken inside the courthouse when you obtained the DVRO, correct?
That's correct.
And your friend Raquel Pennington took this photograph?
Yes, that's correct.
Because you needed to document your time at the courthouse getting a DVRO?
She just took a picture of me. I'm assuming it was in relation to my divorce, yeah.
If we could please pull up Defendants Exhibit 801, which has already been admitted into evidence. Ms. Heard, this is another photograph of you taken inside the courthouse, isn't that right?
That is correct.
Were you having a photo shoot inside the courthouse while you were getting a DVRO?
I would not characterize it that way, Ms. Vasquez.
You have a mark on your face, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
You didn't use your bruise kit this time to cover it up?
No, it was the only day I actually walked out of my house without makeup on. I had to be stopped. My best friend saw me in the bathroom starting to put makeup on and told me not to.
All right. Can we please pull up Exhibit 1?
That's plaintiffs at 1?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
No.
Apologies.
That's fine.
It's already been admitted into
Yes, ma'am.
evidence. You wrote this op-ed, right, Ms. Heard?
With the help of the ACLU, yes.
And that's what you testified to in this courtroom, right?
That is correct.
And this was published on December 18th, 2018, correct?
That is correct.
Aquaman was released on December 21st, 2018, right?
Yes, that sounds correct.
And that was your first big blockbuster, big budget role, right?
I disagree, but it was the first time I had like a leading role in a movie of that size, yes. Well, second time, yes.
What was your first time?
But the first one was the film I talked about before, yesterday, Justice League. It introduced the character. So, technically it was the second one.
But you were the love interest in Aquaman, correct?
That is correct.
Now, at least parts of this op-ed are about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
It's about what happened to me after.
You sat here during opening statements when your attorney argued that the context of your statements in this op-ed matter, correct?
That's correct.
So let's go through some of that context. He wrote here, quote, "Friends and advisors told me I would never work again as an actress, that I would be blacklisted."
That is
You're
correct.
referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp in the statement, aren't you?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
You're referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp in the statement, aren't you?
In general, I'm referring to being associated with domestic violence.
And you're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-parte domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp in May of 2016, right?
Are you asking me if that's what I was writing about?
That's what you're referring to, correct?
Can you just give me the question again? I'm sorry.
You're referring to what you claim happened after you got an ex-parte restraining order against Mr. Depp in May of 2016.
That's correct.
You also wrote, quote, "Questions arose as to whether I would be able to keep my role of Mira in the films Justice League and Aquaman." This is also referring to your accusations of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
This is referring to what happened to me after I got my TRO, my restraining order.
Against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
These questions arose only after you accused Mr. Depp of domestic violence in May of 2016, allegedly, right?
Yeah, from the time I got the TRO, being associated with domestic violence, that's what it's in reference to, yes.
You also wrote, quote, "Imagine a powerful man as a ship like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise." In this op-ed, you're saying Mr. Depp is a ship, right?
I'm making an analogy to a powerful man as a ship.
The powerful man you're referring to in this analogy is Mr. Depp, right?
I was talking about a bigger issue, actually, than just Johnny. I was talking about what we as a country were talking about at the time of writing this, which is when powerful men in general do something horrible or something they shouldn't, how there is a system in place to protect them, clean up after them, maintain them afloat. You know, this is a reference to not just Johnny, it was about what was happening as a culture when we were addressing a lot of Me Too issues for the first time.
The iceberg is you in this analogy, right, Ms. Heard?
I would not say that. That was not what I intended to know.
So this is another reference to your accusations against Mr. Depp.
No, this is about what happened to me once I left that relationship and got a TRO and became associated with domestic violence.
Right. But it's your testimony that this op-ed isn't about Mr. Depp, right?
It's about what happened to me after. That's
It's
correct.
about your experience after obtaining a temporary restraining order against Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct, among other things.
But it's not about Mr. Depp.
It is not about him,
Mr. Depp is making it about Mr. Depp, right?
ironically.
It's kind of like that Carly Simon song, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't know what you mean.
Let's talk about the defamatory statements in the op-ed that you also claim are not about Mr. Depp. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. This is about Mr. Depp, isn't it?
No,
You wrote this in 2018, right?
exactly.
And 2 years prior was 2016, right?
That's true.
Okay.
That's correct.
So
It's not about
May of
Johnny. It's about what happened to me
Ms.
after.
Heard, my question was May of 2016 is 2 years prior to December of 2018, correct?
That's correct.
All right. May 2016 is when you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic violence, right?
I got my restraining order at that time.
And you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic violence.
Yes, that was attached to my restraining order, so yes.
May of 2016 is when you sought a restraining order against Mr. Depp.
That's correct, and I had to provide testimony for that.
Right. And May 2016 is when you walked into court with a mark on your face to obtain that restraining order. Yes or no?
That was the day I walked into court with a bruise on my face, yes.
And you were photographed with that mark on your face, weren't you?
I walked out to a bunch of photographers, yes.
May 2016 is when you told the world that Mr. Depp had physically abused you during your relationship. Isn't that right?
That I had to provide testimony as part of my restraining order application, yes.
And that's how you became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Right, Ms. Heard?
From that point on, yes.
That's when you claimed you faced our culture's wrath,
That's
right?
when it started, yes.
But it's your testimony under oath that this statement is not about Mr. Depp.
It is not. It is about what happened to me afterwards. That's the more interesting thing for me to write about.
The next statement reads, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. This is also about Mr. Depp, isn't that right?
Not just about him, but he is included in that, yes.
He's the man you accused of abuse 2 years prior to this op-ed. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, but I wrote this op-ed in the context of many men at the time that were public figures or in this public eye being accused as well. So it was a reference in general to a larger phenomenon, not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
Not just Johnny.
Okay. And then you write, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. This one's also about Mr. Depp.
I did not write that.
Well, you've accused Mr. Depp of sexual violence in this very courtroom, haven't you?
Yes, but I was intending to keep that private when this was published. I had not publicly ever accused him of that.
I'm going to move to strike everything after the word yes.
No, I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
You may not have written this title, but you published it, didn't you?
I did not publish a title. I retweeted the article that included the title in it because that was the article.
Let's pull up, please, Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, which is already in evidence. This is a tweet from your Twitter account on December 19th, 2018, correct?
That is correct.
Your Honor, oh, it's already in evidence?
It is in evidence. Yes.
Thank you. So on December 19th, 2018, you tweeted, quote, today I published this op-ed in the Washington Post. Did I read that right?
That is correct.
And the tweet includes a link to the op-ed we were just looking at, correct?
That's correct.
And you can see that the title of the op-ed in your tweet is, quote, opinion, Amber Heard. I spoke up against sexual violence, right?
Yes, you don't get to change the title of an article you're retweeting.
And that's the title that you put on your Twitter, correct?
I did not put it on my Twitter, no.
You linked it to your tweet.
I retweeted the article.
You published it.
I retweeted a link to an article that I wrote.
And you published it on your Twitter account. All right.
I retweeted it.
You testified yesterday that you didn't have any control over the title, and just now, of the op-ed when you retweeted it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
This wasn't a retweet, though, right?
A tweet? Perhaps not retweet. I'm not quite sure.
It was
I guess
a tweet.
Tweet. I misspoke. Excuse me. Tweet, not retweet.
You included a link to the electronic copy of the op-ed in your tweet, right?
That's what I was trying to say earlier, and I might have misspoke. It's like I'm trying to attach it.
Right. So you included a link, right?
Yes,
to the
that's
op-ed.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So you must have seen the title of the electronic version of the op-ed before you tweeted it, right?
I may have. I just didn't notice it.
Not very careful about what you publish, are you, Ms. Heard?
I just didn't notice the title.
You didn't need to include the link to the electronic version of the op-ed in your tweet, did you?
How else would I have linked it?
Well, you didn't need to include the link to tell the world that today you had published this op-ed in the Washington Post about women who are channeling their rage and about violence and equality into political strength despite the price of coming forward, right?
I couldn't attach it with a paper clip.
No, but you didn't need to attach it at all to tell the world
Oh, I
that
see
you
what you're
had
saying.
published an op-ed.
No, the goal was to tweet about it and to provide a link so that people could read it.
The op-ed is in your name, right?
That's correct.
So if you had noticed the title of the electronic version of the op-ed before you included it in your tweet, you could have asked the Washington Post to change it. Isn't that right?
No, that's not.
But you didn't do that, right? You never asked the Washington Post to change the title.
I didn't notice it, and I didn't ask them, nor do I think I needed to.
At the bottom, do you see that there's another tweet from December 19th, 2018?
Yes, I do.
And in this one, it reads, I am honored to announce my role as an ACLU ambassador on women's rights. Did I read that right?
That's correct.
So you announced your ACLU ambassadorship the same day you posted the op-ed on your Twitter.
I think that was always the plan, is to attach the article with the announcement that I was an ambassador.
Your Honor, if I may, would this be a good time to stop for lunch?
No, it's too
No.
early.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We got to keep going at least till 12:30.
Okay, that's
thank
fine,
you.
Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Hurd, you testified yesterday about your counterclaim against Mr. Depp in this case. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, I do.
Your counterclaim is based on 3 statements made by Mr. Depp's attorneys, Adam Waldman. Is that right?
That's correct.
We looked at those 3 statements yesterday, right?
That's correct.
And the first statement was from an April 8th, 2020 article, right?
That's correct.
And that's Defendants Exhibit 1, 2, 4, 5 that's been previously admitted. Would you please pull that up? Thank you. If we could please publish that. Thank you. We can scroll down to the 8th page. Mr. Waldman's statement is buried on the 8th page of a 12-page article. Is that right, Ms. Hurd?
I don't know how many pages are here.
Well, this is the 8th page. Let's go to the 12th. Let's pull up, please, Defendants Exhibit 1, 2, 4, 6, which has already been admitted. And if we could please go to Mr. Waldman's statement on page 10. And go on to page 11 of a That's Mr. Waldman's statement, right?
That is correct. Okay. I think it's Mr. Waldman speaking on behalf of Johnny, yes.
You don't have any evidence of that, do you, Ms. Hurd? This is Mr. Waldman's statement, right?
I think it's included in the article as well.
That this is Mr. Waldman's statement, correct?
That a representative or an attorney, I don't know which word it says in the article, that it says very clearly that they're speaking on behalf of Johnny or representing Johnny.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 8818, 881A, excuse me? If we could please go to page 8 of this article. Sorry, Your Honor. May I just
All right.
approach?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll come back to this. Sorry, Ms. Hurd. Sorry, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Let's go ahead and take this down, please. Thanks. You testified yesterday about how your reputation was before these 3 statements were made, correct?
Yes, I did.
You testified that your career was going very well before.
I think I said the trajectory was positive, yes.
You testified you had a global campaign for L'Oreal, right?
That is correct.
You testified you were waiting on a schedule for Aquaman 2.
That is correct.
You testified you were scheduled to do a press tour for the TV show The Stand.
Press obligations, yes.
And then you testified that after the articles, you were no longer actively involved in the L'Oreal campaign. Isn't that right?
They suspended using my material.
And that you were no longer involved in the publicity surrounding The Stand after the articles, right?
That's correct.
And you didn't hear anything about the schedule for Aquaman 2.
Correct.
Ms. Heard, you have no evidence that Mr. Waldman's 3 statements are the reason you are allegedly no longer active in the L'Oreal campaign, do you?
Well, I mean, other than my awareness that they can't use me because of all of the online attention that generated.
And you have no evidence that Mr. Waldman's 3 statements are the reason that the Stand media opportunities allegedly stopped, do you?
Yeah, I know they couldn't attach my name to their promotional materials because of the online stuff.
In fact, there was a lot of reasons why you were no longer active in these endeavors. Isn't that right?
I disagree with that.
Reasons that had absolutely nothing to do with Mr. Waldman's statements. Isn't that right?
I disagree with that.
There was a lot of publicity about your relationship with Mr. Depp around the time Mr. Waldman made the 3 statements at issue, right?
I do not recall.
A lot of really negative publicity for you, Ms. Heard. Isn't that right?
There's been an ongoing smear campaign, yes.
An ongoing negative publicity campaign.
It's an orchestrated smear campaign.
You have no evidence of that, do you, Ms. Heard?
Just look me up, you'll see.
Let's take a look at some of that.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So, Ms. Hurd, my last question to you was that there was a lot of negative publicity for you around the time that Mr. Waldman made these statements. Isn't that correct?
I believe that they were made, I believe that the statements kind of kept being attached to new defamatory, or, articles that were like smear campaign sort of attack articles is what it.
Okay. Let's go through some of the articles that were out in the press. So, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1267. Could just publish that just for the witness. That would be great. Thank you. This is an article published on February 2nd, 2020, and the title is hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp trends after Amber Heard admits to hitting actor in audio clip. Do you see that?
I see that.
And if we can go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1268. This one was published on February 3rd, 2020. It reads the title, Amber Heard admits to hitting Johnny Depp in recording.
Yeah,
Do you see
that's
that?
when his lawyer leaked an edited tape.
Ms. Heard, do you see the title? Amber Heard admits to hitting Johnny Depp in recording. Do you see that?
I see the title.
Okay. If we could please go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1269. This one was published on March 17th, 2020. Amber Heard slammed door into Johnny Depp's head, reveals new audio. Do you see that?
Yeah, these are more of the PR plans.
Let's go to 1270. This one was published on March 31st, 2020. Amber Heard to be sacked from Jason Momoa's Aquaman after Johnny Depp's controversy, reports. Do you see that?
I do.
We can go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1271. See the title that says, Johnny Depp says ex-wife Amber Heard sliced his finger off, and it, quote, erupted like the Vesuvius?
I just don't know when that was. I've never seen that article.
We can go to 1272. This one was published on May 29th, 2020, and it says, when Amber Heard confessed to smashing a door into Johnny Depp's head, clocking him in the jaw. Do you see that?
I see that.
Going to 1275. This one was published on July 15th, 2020. Amber Heard stole my sexual assault story. Ex-aide tells libel trial. Do you see that?
This was Adam Waldman as well.
It doesn't say Mr. Waldman. It actually says Kate James also says she often received abusive text messages from Johnny Depp's ex-wife, doesn't it?
I just know because he threw down the article.
Ms. Heard, isn't that what that says?
Mr. Waldman threw the newspaper at me afterwards.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question.
What
My
was your
question
question?
is-
Sorry.
The title of the article says, Amber Heard stole my sexual assault story, ex-aide tells libel trial. Kate James also says, Your Honor, she opened the door by saying it was Adam Waldman.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Okay. Let's go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1276. Amber Heard admits to hitting fucking baby Johnny Depp in court audio. Do you see that, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's go to 1277. Published July 28th, 2020. Amber Heard's sister thought she was going to kill Johnny Depp, claims a witness. Do you see that, Ms. Heard?
I see that.
And 1278. published on July 28th, 2020. Johnny Depp was the victim of abuser Amber Heard, London's High Court told. Do you see that?
I do see that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Go ahead and take our lunch recess then. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our hour lunch recess at this point. Do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research. Okay, we'll see you in an hour. We'll come back at 1:35 then. Is that fine? All right, thank you.
All right.